And did Saturday Night Live, you know, it proved to be useful in a number of ways when you did start to take parts in films themselves? I mean, because Mike Myers, they'd all been through that college as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, you know, it kind of was just invaluable in the sense that you had to learn to be incredibly adaptable. You're working with a brand new host every week who's going to be a different type of actor, whether they're a dramatic actor or a comedian. You had to kind of, you know, you were handed changes constantly in terms of the material and working in live television. It really was this kind of brutal at times boot camp in a way that once you got on a film set, it almost felt slow. It almost felt like, well, this is easy. This is not as hard as Saturday Night Live. You know, you start out on a show like Saturday Night Live. It's you know, it starts at 11:30 at night, so you're not in the public eye as much as you would be on the cast of Friends, you know, where it's prime time. So I was on the show for 7 years, and people still had thought I'd only been on it for a couple years. So it was a very slow build, and you start to be someone who's, oh, that guy's funny. Let's have him do this small part in a film, and then the parts start to grow. And I was just very fortunate when I left the show. I really didn't have this list of scripts lined up. We had just finished filming Old School, and they decided to hold on to the movie, which is usually a bad sign. They decided they're going to release it in I think November, and they waited till February the following year. And so, you know, Vince and Luke and I thought we had made a funny movie, but you never know. So that hadn't come out yet, and then I'd just been pitched this idea of a guy who was raised by elves and and grows, you know, and I thought, wow, that's either the worst idea ever or one of the best, and I can't.
Hadn't you been a Santa outside a store at some stage?
As a struggling actor, yes, I was a mall Santa Claus.
So you had the
I already had the training. Yeah, I already had that. I already had the know-how.
But when it comes to Elf, you are of course playing Buddy, the elf,
yes.
Who gets to work amongst ordinary people.
Right.
And they don't know, of course, initially about his special qualifications. Because actually, of course, the elf there is, I mean, he's just sweet all the way through, isn't he? Whereas a lot of your characters have that kind of boyish look, but there's always the sense that there might be a little something else.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Going on. Yeah. Yeah.
And do you think that part of the edge of comedy is actually that bit of danger?
I think so. I mean, I think it's always, you know, so much fun to kind of have that juxtaposition and you know, have another intent while you're saying or doing something else is just gives, you know, I think the movies that we have done, especially the ones that Adam McKay and I have written, just that extra layer that maybe you don't see the first time you watch it, but the next time you pick up on something different that we're doing.
Oh, we're going to talk about Ron Burgundy now. And
yes.
You see, and immediately there's a great roar of recognition because we love Ron Burgundy.
Yeah, no, and
we love him perhaps maybe more than the Americans loved him.
I think so. In fact, Adam and I always talk about the fact that movie, that in the UK, you guys got it way far ahead of the American audience, and it was kind of, you know, the reaction from audiences here and the press over here was so flattering to us, and it really it was nice because it confirmed that we thought we had made something unique and special and different. And but in America, it was a little slow to kind of, people eventually came around to it. But we literally, when the movie came out in the States, we literally heard people who had the reaction of either that's the funniest movie I've ever seen or it's the worst movie I've ever seen. And friends who had said they'd heard fights break out at the end of people yelling, "I want my money back," and so, you know, so but we've always said that this audience here is just, let's just face it, smarter. No. No, I'm just kidding. That's gonna be on the internet. Will Ferrell says UK audience is smarter. That was a joke. Everyone's smart. Everyone in the world, all the audiences in the world are smart. I have to protect my foreign box office. Especially China. The Chinese are the smartest audience. They are by far the smartest audience because there's so many of them.
Ron Burgundy himself, was he based on anybody from your time as a sports reporter?
Well, growing up in the era of 70s television when local network news was the king, I think we forget that you used to have newscasters who would show up at the opening of a supermarket and 10,000 people would show up. And so I loved, as a little kid, I don't know why, I loved watching local news. There was something comforting about watching news people.
It is a great study of 70s sexism.
Yeah.